What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more Entitled Parent stories which I know you're gonna love. But wait, before we get into the stories, there is currently a massive Black Friday sale going on my merch. So if you're interested on the clothes shown on screen right now, go and pick them up at a discounted price. The sale will last until the end of Cyber Monday, and if you order your merch within the next few days, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, your stuff will arrive way before Christmas. So if you are interested, click the link behind the I button or in the pinned comments. This is the best way to support me and ensure that there will be videos on the channel for a long time in the future. Anyway, let's get into the video. Learn to speak English and stop listening to foreign music. I'm Scottish. This just happened to me and I'm both shocked and laughing my butt off. I was on a bus on my way into college listening to a punk band I've recently got heavily into. A band from Brixen in the German-speaking region of South Tyrol in Italy called Frey Wild. The bus is fairly packed, so I'm right at the front of the bit where you'd park a pram or a wheelchair. A woman with a pram gets on the bus and sits in the only free seat next to me. She looks down at my phone, why I still can't work out, and sees that I'm listening to a song called Siegesstehende auf wo Wille liegen bleiben. Apologies to any Germans listening, I absolutely butchered that. Roughly translated rather aptly to winners stand where losers fall, and yanks one of my earphones out. You live in Scotland, stop listening to your trashy Polish music. God, all you effing Polacks are all the same, refusing to be decent citizens and speak English. This is why we voted to leave the EU. Scotland didn't, but I digress. So we could get you idiots out of here. Now, I'm Scottish, born and bred. Apart from a week in Amsterdam, 2 weeks in Morocco, 3 weeks in the States, and a week in France, I've stayed very much in the UK my entire life. Never been to Poland or Germany for that matter. I eventually had enough of her bull, so I tried to put her in her place. This is German music. Also, I was born here to Scottish parents. Yep, that is my attempt at a Scottish accent. I do apologize. Karen tried to make her rebuttal, but I got there first. Also, how does me listening to some punk rock that happens to be in German affect you? I have my headphones, you can't hear it. Karen's eyes lit up as if she'd won the Karen lottery. Why are you listening to that sinful, demonic music in public? You're gonna scare my kid. Now, I realize that Karen is Scottish as well, but I can't fail at two accents at the same time. I look in the pram. Firstly, your child is sound asleep. Secondly, I have my headphones in. You can't hear it, I can't hear it. F off and let me listen to my music in peace. Maybe Polish people aren't the problem in this country. Maybe it's stuck-up, judgmental, racist idiots like you. As I called her out on her BS, she whacked the stop button and yeeted herself and the pram right off the bus at the next stop. Thank frick. I really do apologize to both German people and Scottish people for those abominations of accents. But hey, you can't knock me for trying, right? And yeah, this story, that was an interesting one. It's almost as if this Karen doesn't know that music is international. I don't know, it was funny until it became racist, then it's a bit too much. Moving on to our second story, entitled Mum Leaves Her Kids Unattended in a Store Playground. Savage Dad Shuts Her Down. This happened a few years ago at a local big chain hardware store. Like every one of these stores, they have a small playground and a cafe next to it. Parents will get a coffee and sit around while their kids have a play. I was not directly involved in the action, just a keen observer. I came into the scene after getting my coffee and sitting down. My two kids had already entered the playground, which is contained behind pool fencing and childproof. At the fence were an entitled mother's kids, the little boy crying and the little girl calling for her entitled mum, who was nowhere to be seen. Clearly having dumped her kids in the playground to go about her business in store. A concerned old lady approached the entitled mum's kids and asked if they were okay. The daughter said, "My brother needs to go to the toilet." The concerned old lady then took it upon herself to let the entitled mum's son out to go to the toilet nearby, wait for him, then let him back into the playground. As he was being let into the playground, the entitled mum waddled back into the scene in a huff, speaking rudely to her own kids. "What is going on? I told you to stay in here," giving poisonous stares to everyone around. The kids settled down and off she went again, despite some brief but audible comments from other parents. By now, the 6 to 10 adults who witnessed this were glancing at one another incredulously, shaking heads and wondering at the audacity of some people. There was peace for about 60 more seconds. The entitled mum's little boy returns to the fence and starts crying again. Bystander parents start looking about to see if the entitled mum can be seen. Enter savage dad bystander. Now this dad says something to his teenage son, probably to keep an eye on his little one in the playground. He gets up from his coffee and newspaper and walks to a spot nearby where you can see down the center aisle of the store. He sees the entitled mum halfway across the store, and the following dialogue ensues. I will bold, not because he was yelling, but his voice was really commanding and his forcefulness was unmistakable. Okay, here we go. The savage dad bystander, raising his finger and pointing to the entitled mum from about 20 meters away. You, come here now. The entitled mum marches over with attitude. What is the problem now? What's going on? Directing her questions more towards her kids. You are the problem. This is not a daycare center. Kids are not to be left unattended. Sit down and watch them or leave. It has nothing to do with you. They're okay. They're in there plenty of times. She was feisty and looking at him with contempt. They're clearly not okay. If you're not prepared to watch them, don't leave them here. They're gonna remember the way you treat them, and so far, you're not doing too well. Then he got serious. It was beautiful to watch. He said, with a hard edge to his voice and his finger pointing at her, and don't you dare ever pull that face with me. Wipe that smug look off this instant. This entitled mum deflated like a punctured tire. She immediately got her kids and scarpered. The witnesses applauded the savage dad, and he grinned as he walked back to his coffee, just saying, I had to do something. His persona changed instantly to casual and stress-free. He must have been a school principal or an army officer or some position of authority. The way he toggled the savage switch on and off so easily. Well, yeah, fair play to this guy. Like, it's not alright to just abandon your kids, even if they are in a play area. That's just not even safe. Sometimes it takes a forceful voice to make these entitled people learn. Let me know in the comments below, if you have been there and watched this all take place, would you have also clapped this savage dad? I don't know. Moving on to our final story. Entitled dad tries to convince the police it's my fault he hit my car. This story is from late September. I was thinking about it for a bit yesterday, and I think this story could go here. It's the day after my birthday. I was stoked to exist due to the wonderful birthday I had. Unfortunately, it was a Monday and I had to commute to my university for class. No problem since I was in such a good mood. I drove as normal, singing along to the music I was playing in my car. I took my exit as normal as well. However, when I got to the end of the exit where the stoplight is, a car ended up trying to switch lanes without signaling and ended up hitting me. You see, the exit has 3 lanes towards the end. One to go left, one to go straight, and one to go right. I was in the middle lane trying to go straight, and the car that hit me was in the left lane. I was terrified because this was my first accident. I hate to say it, but I'm kind of a wuss, and so I was also crying because I was that freaking scared. We pull out of the exit and I go into a nearby parking lot to call the police. And now the BS begins. The entitled dad steps out of the driver's side of his car and comes over to my passenger side window, tapping it. Why did you hit my car? Why are you driving so recklessly? His entitled son, who is about my age, standing behind his entitled dad, says, Yo, what the F? Do you know how much this car was? It was a Lexus, so I assumed a lot. At that point, I just lock my doors and call my dad. My dad then reassures me that everything will be okay and to just calm down and call the cops. I do just that, but the entitled dad continues to be annoying while his son is also calling the cops. The entitled dad is just standing outside my passenger side window holding a checkbook. He keeps telling me, You're young, this will go on your permanent records. Can you even afford the increase in insurance? Let us give you money. When the son was done with the 911 call, he also joined his father and started being an effing idiot, yelling, Yo, just take the money and effing leave. We got places to be. I'm no genius, but I knew that if I took the money and left, they would have told the cops, who were on the way, that it was a hit and run, and thus all the blame would all be on me. I just put on my headphones and waited for the cops. All the while, the entitled dad and his entitled son were goading me to take their money and just leave. City police eventually come to the lot. When I saw the cop pull up, I put away my headphones and stepped out of my car. The cop, who is BC, which stands for Idiot Cop, walked right past me and went towards the entitled dad and asked him what happened. The dad then proceeded to tell the idiot cop that I hit him while merging into the center lane. When the cop came over to me, he told me that it's out of his hands since it was on state highway lines, so state police was on the way. He then had the gall to tell me, drive responsibly notably next time when it was not my fault and without asking for my side of the story. I get back in my car and lock the door once again as I waited for state police. Again, the entitled dad and entitled son were at my window telling me to take their money and save my permanent record. State police eventually arrived and they did their jobs. They asked me to tell my side and they asked the entitled dad and the entitled son to tell their sides. The dad and son said the same thing that they told the city police, that I hit them while merging lanes. I, of course, said the opposite. The state policeman didn't take the entitled dad and his entitled son's bull. The damage on our cars said otherwise. He just listened to the two who were giving smug glances back at me every once in a while. Eventually, the police let us go and the waiting game starts for the police report and insurance claims. Fast forward 2.5 weeks and the police report says exactly what the truth is, that the entitled dad and his entitled son were at fault for the accident and that they actually told the cops that they offered me money to leave but I didn't take it. They had to pay over $2,000 for my car repair as well as the money for my rental car. My insurance didn't even go up. In fact, it dropped due to losing the status of new driver. Well, hey, that's all good to hear that it was all sorted in the end. I guess what might have happened is the dad got ticketed for attempted bribery and trying to coax an individual to do a criminal act. Well, at least I hope that's what happened. That's what should have happened, right? Not to mention the reckless driving and overall just being an absolute idiot towards you. Sounds like a close shave as well, right? Because that first cop was not on your side, but luckily the proper police got involved eventually and sorted it all out. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode of r/Entitled Parents. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did and want more Entitled Parents, click the video on screen right away. If not, I will see you guys all tomorrow with a brand new upload.